Today on Mike Attempts, repairing a pass-load stapler. I got these two pass-load 3150 wide crown staple guns for free because they have broken and missing parts. The good news is, between the two, I think I can make a functioning stapler. Let's get to it. The goal is to disassemble both staplers and separate out the best parts. I'll need this cap assembly because it's missing on the other one. The sleeve seal is cracked, but that's okay. I plan to replace all seals and O-rings anyway. This nut is actually part of the main valve post, so the whole thing spins. It would have been better to hold the nut and turn the Allen wrench instead. There's a retaining ring holding the main valve assembly together, so you'll need some snap ring pliers to remove it. Watch your eyeballs. All these parts are missing on the other stapler. The driver blade seems to be in good shape, and the inside of the sleeve looks good too. Old seals and bumpers get hard and brittle over time. This coiled up strip of metal is the spring that keeps tension on the staples, but the follower is missing on this one. Free staples! That's perfect. I'll need those for testing. With a block of wood and a few taps, the sleeve is free. Needs a good cleaning. The trigger valve is held in place by a single pin. Grab the valve pin with something smooth that won't mar the surface and pull to release the valve body. Careful not to lose the spring that goes on the back of the valve pin. This assembly is the same for the other stapler, so I won't make you watch. The sleeves are slightly different, and only one requires this plastic flange. I picked up a new O-ring kit, a sleeve seal, and a replacement sleeve flange just in case. I don't see any cracks in the original, and it's in there really tight, so I think I'm just going to leave it alone. I filled a jar lid with some air tool oil so I can lube everything up during assembly. Squeeze the sides of the old O-ring and push it to one side. Then use a pick to easily remove it without damaging the part. I like to remove an old O-ring, clean the groove, match it up to the new O-ring, throw it in the oil, and then install with a pick. Run the pick around the outside of the part to ensure there aren't any twists in the new O-ring. I use a cotton swab to lube all surfaces that the O-rings will contact. Make sure everything is in place and press in the valve body. If you can't get it to seat, grab a socket and give it a couple taps with a rubber mallet. Now the retaining pin can be driven in. When reinstalling the trigger, be sure this pin is behind the trigger lever. These ears should be pointing up. Press the sleeve firmly to be sure it's fully seated. This is the old bumper next to a new one. The old one has compressed over time and has no flexibility left. I actually tried reusing it, but the stapler wouldn't fire. Make sure the slits in both the bumper and the metal blade seal are lined up and perpendicular to the handle. I applied a thin layer of grease to the gasket and the inside of the flange. It's easier to sneak this one bolt past the spring before it's pressed against the body of the stapler. I added a little thread locker and tightened down the bolts. This piece goes behind the roll pin. I'll insert the spring and bolt later. I tried, but I just could not stretch the new seal over the sleeve. So I let it soak in some hot water to soften it up a bit. After a few minutes, I dried the seal and then lubed it up for installation. Because of the ridges, it still wasn't easy, but I eventually got it on. I liberally oiled the inside of the sleeve, lined up the blade with the slit at the front, and pushed it through. I also made sure there was plenty of oil on the front glide before pushing the blade further. This spring gets tucked behind the linkage, like this. With the work contact nose installed, everything moves together. These two nuts slide in the channel, so I just needed to line them up to install the rail bracket. For inside O-rings, carefully work the pick behind and pop them out. That top groove is for the retaining ring. I used a screwdriver to press down around the snap ring to be sure it was fully seated. This little screw holds everything together. I spread a thin layer of grease on the gasket. These holes go at the bottom. A couple drops of thread locker and we're almost done. I like to double check the bolts with an Allen wrench to be sure they're tight. Let's test it out. It took me a while to realize that you can't fire this stapler by holding the trigger and bumping the nose. I eventually figured out that you need to press the nose into the wood and then pull the trigger. Seems to be working great. Feel free to rate this video, add your comments and questions below, and subscribe for more.